younger.
That would be starting back in the mid-70s, late 70s, up until now. Yeah, I don't know how many of you remember this, but we'll do this sitting at laying on your back. There's the right leg kind of zero. Looking up at the sky, looking at all the stars, really stars. Just amazing sight. You can see all the stars. I don't know, I guess you just can't see through it. I think to myself, the young boy there. Graduate school down in Florida. About 3 years later, I remember being out on the Gulf Coast, the Atlantic Ocean, and I was out at the end of the pier, just looking out over the horizon, seeing if I could see any ships or what have you. It was a clear day, and I followed this guy. And above the water, I noticed a real weird-looking fog. It wasn't a fog that looked like anything you ever seen before. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, it wasn't fog like this. This right here is fog. This is Lake Matanga. Very rare to ever catch this, but just floating above the water. It was more like this. But if I zoom in here, it's probably about the best example I could find. It wasn't quite this high. It was more dark blue, down about this height. And I noticed there's just a pinkish, right? About as big as this. About as big as that cross is right there. About how high it was, and then the rest of it up here was in dark blue like this. But it was really strange. I sat there and I looked at it for like 10 minutes because it was just the strangest fog. It didn't look like fog. But anyway, years went by, and I started noticing up in the sky little short lines up in the air like this, and I would think, oh, it must have hit a cold spot. I never really thought much of it. Then again, about 20 more years went by. And then 2011 rolled around. A lot of things started happening then. I had a lot of UFO experiences, what have you, but I'll get to that in another video sometime later. But that was the summer of 2011. That's when I realized, figured out that they were actually spraying our skies and that these jets weren't hitting cold spots. I actually sat there and watched them. Finally started taking some time out. And sure enough, I could see that they were spraying something out of the back of the jets. They were spraying some very large lines, fat lines in the sky back 2011, 2012. A lot of other things that were trying to keep me not so focused. But like I said, we'll get into that later. But I ended up moving back to visit him, and I've been talking to him a little bit about things, but not too much. A lot of people thought I was kind of losing my mind, but he didn't. But anyway, I showed up at his house. It was April 27th. Later in the afternoon, probably, I don't know, 4 o'clock. And he was out in his front yard raking. I was there the night before, and he had a big snowbank in his front yard. It was pretty big, falling all year. And I remembered it, but as I pulled up in there, I walked into the front yard where he was raking. I'm walking towards me. He was, hey, you remember that big snowbank that was sitting right here? And I was like, yeah. It melted in one day. Can you believe that? And I was like, kinda. It was a pretty warm day, but I went over to where the snowbank was, and I was kind of figuring out too. The reason I said kinda was because I couldn't figure out that this was fake snow. There's bright chemicals in making it snow. So with that in mind, I walked over where the bank was, and I started to notice this glassy stuff the bank was. And the more I looked, where there were other snow banks and snow drifts, there it was. I'll show you the video here. It was really interesting stuff. When you touch it, it just fall apart, disintegrate. It's kind of like a saran wrap type of stuff. But you'll see right here, if I zoom in on it. Hold on. Sorry about that. I had no. But you can see this glassy stuff here. Right up in here. Let's see if we can zoom in. Anyway, you can see this stuff here. It's almost got like some kind of webs in it. But you can just see how glassy it looks. It's just stupid. I knew this was in the snow, but my opinion, there's a chemistry in the snow, is what I'm saying. But posted this video on Facebook. Sorry about that. Very odd stuff. You know, that snowbank melted in a day, leaving this all over the top of the grass. It's obvious. But the following year came 2014, and I brought this stuff up. People were calling it snow mold. You can see that it's not. Very strange stuff, let me tell you. But anyway, I was waiting for the following year to come around. And the following year, we started getting some same type of stuff, but it was a little thicker, a little fluffier. You know, that looks right here is like skin almost. You know, some of the strangest stuff. Hard, and I really didn't hardly even collect any. Anyway, April 14th, 2014. I found some more fibers. This time I was ready. I was looking for it. But you can see this here, it's fluffy. It's still kind of brittle and not quite the same as it was in 2013. Let's take a look at it here. But I was able to collect some of this stuff too. It was still very difficult. I did get some collected. It wasn't a whole lot. And yet again, I didn't have the money that year either to get it tested. But like I said, it was very hard to even collect a whole lot of it. Again, I posted this video, and we got some more arguments, and it's snow mold. Like in this area here, you can see that it's right next to the snow. As the snow melts, it leaves this stuff behind, coming out of the snow and laying on top of the grass. You can see it a lot better looking at yourself. But where the snow was piled high is where the stuff ended up. Snow banks, little deep snow drifts. As soon as they would melt, apparently they were high enough that when they melted, they had enough substance in them that it would leave a residue, this type of residue, behind. Now the following year, let's see here. All that here. Sorry about that, but the winter 2015 rolled around, and I just built a new deck. And I planned that winter to shovel that deck off and pile it as high as I could right next to the deck. And that's what I did. When this was enough snow piled up there that I figured in the springtime it would leave enough residue that I would be able to collect it and be able to get it tested. Watch this video here for a minute. You'll see how thick this stuff is. And that anyway, just watch this. As you can see here, this stuff's pretty thick. It doesn't have a webbing, even moldy look to it. It's pretty thick. I was very pleased with what I had done, and as you'll see here in a minute, I stick a stick in it, in the thick part here, where the main part of the snowbank was. And what happens is it sticks to the stick, it just peels off. This is early in the morning, so it's wet and gooey, as you can see here, almost like taffy. But I was able to get enough of this collected. But in a minute here, I'm going to show you some evidence in this video that this stuff is in the snow. What I do is I get up and from this area and I go over to the side of the hill where what water is in this fake snow travels down the side of this hill, leaving like little rivers or canals. This is the next morning. You can see that some more of that melted right there. That's still gooey. Did collect some samples. Was able to get some more of this next morning here. But in a minute here, I'll take you down over the side of the hill. Alright, here we go. Water, now you can see right there's a little trail of water running down it right here. And what I had noticed is the water would run through, it was melting the snow, leaving this chem webbing that you see on top of the grass. You can see it here in the snow, above the grass, just stretching across where the water had run through. So this should be very obvious that these chemicals are in our snow. It's either because it's nucleated snow, chemically nucleated, or it's as it's falling, the precipitation is falling, it's gathering these chemicals out of the air and bring them down to the ground. You can see as these ice crystals melt, this in here. You can see here, like, see these holes right here? This would have been where there was like an ice crystal in it. And when it completely melts, it falls out, leaving this hole. This hole right here. And that's how you get these holes in this webbing. Like this line here. What would happen? I'm going to try to explain this. There would be like ice crystals on top of it. Let's see, it's a big ice crystal right here. So as the water or residue is melting off of the ice crystal, it falls down into the valleys, gathering itself together, sticking together, I'm assuming, attaching itself together, and then when the ice crystal melts completely out and falls out, delicately, I'm sure, it leaves that line there, and that's how you end up getting many of these lines, or webbing, what looks like webbing, after the snow is gone. Nothing similar to mold, but that would be how you'd get it. Zoom in on this. But you can just see it comes out of the snow. It is attached to the snow, into it. It just comes across. I was very lucky to find this. As you can see, the water ran through underneath it. But luckily enough, this must have been a high bank, and it eventually melted overnight, I would assume, or within 24 hours. It just happened to be the right conditions leaving this stuff here. It's suspended in the air and still attached from both sides, showing that this likely was a mound of snow and it melted because of the warm water running underneath it. It just melted quicker here in this area, leaving this residue suspended here. It's a very amazing find. To demonstrate or show you all this. But I gather these samples and I take them in and I have them tested. You can see here, this, here's the snow, here's the residue, and that's another thing too, is this stuff will disappear within 24 to 48 hours. I think if we had a little bit of rain or not, which can wash this stuff away completely. It doesn't take much for this stuff to disappear. It doesn't take long. But let me show you these results here. Here are the test results for 2015. And the stuff you just saw that I shoveled and 6 samples that are collected. What I want you to notice here, what was not detected was antimony, boron. Let's see, you got antimony, boron, silver, thallium, and tin. It was not detected in this. These test results went circulating on the internet, and a friend of mine sent this to a friend of hers out of California, Mr. Herndon. Now, what Mr. Herndon done was received my test results, and he explained to me later after talking with him that he went searching to find something that matched it. And what he found was coal fly ash. It was a very, very good discovery, especially for being up in northern Wisconsin, where we don't have any coal plants in the area or anywhere near. But again, and he told me this was very important because coal fly ash carries its own signature depending on where it comes from, so you can actually kind of trace it, where this coal fly ash came from. And again, from 2015, we're missing, that wasn't detected that coal fly ash has in it, but the snow residue did. It's very important to remember this, but it's missing antimony, boron, or not missing, it's not detected. Antimony, boron, tin. These are just 3. But anyway, in the coal fly ash, it's missing those 3, the snow residue is. Following year in 2016, I ended up having some snow collected and tested again, and the ingredients that, and it came up the same, same as coal fly ash, but it was missing an extra ingredient than it was in 2015. It lists all of the ingredients not detected were antimony. 2016 it was missing beryllium, boron, silver, thallium, and tin. Now in 2017 there are only 2 ingredients that were not detected, and that was beryllium and thallium. So that means that tin, silver, boron, and antimony were detected in 2017, changing the signature of what was being sprayed. I might just mess that up, but anyway, let's just move along here. But it was very interesting. It stayed conclusive for 3 years in a row that these ingredients were matching coal fly ash. There were patents found on jet engines that were patented that could pass coal fly ash through the engine in the jet fuel. Read a couple of them myself, So I know that it is true. But later in the winter of 2017, Dane Wigington from geoengineering.org came out with a discovery about why, found this in the Seattle Times, why is America importing toxic coal fly ash? I'll let you take a listen to that, listen to him for yourself for a minute.
The headline I'm about to read is extremely important as it highlights the level of insanity of those behind the curtain of shadow government. It reveals just how far off the rails the train is at this point. The headline is this: coal ash, this is coal fly ash, quote, why in the world would we be importing it? This is from the Seattle Times. To give some background on this study, previously peer-reviewed study that's been rescinded by those in power, by a nuclear physicist named Marvin Herndon. I know Marvin, and I salute his work on this area. His testing of precipitation samples that showed the same chemical signature as coal fly ash, precipitation samples below heavily sprayed geoengineered skies. As I've disclosed also in previous broadcasts, these same materials are conducive for ocean iron fertilization, another form of geoengineering that causes the oceans to uptake more carbon, further acidifying them, as I covered earlier in the show, and killing them eventually, but hiding the amount of atmospheric CO2 for a while in the oceans at the cost of killing the entire planet. So when these studies showing a chemical signature of precipitation that was very close to coal fly ash, indicating that coal fly ash is likely a base material being used in the climate engineering operations, because we're talking about an unimaginable amount of material. Stated only by geoengineers like David Keith to put 20 million tons of this material in the atmosphere daily, and the amount of material it takes to cause global dimming, the amount of direct sunlight no longer reaching the surface of the planet, the amount of material it takes to cause a 30% global dimming is unimaginable. The amount of material it takes to change solar pH values in some cases 10 to 12 times to lockdown is unimaginable. The amount of material it takes to block, in some days, 60 to 80% of solar power PV uptake is unimaginable. We're talking about huge amounts of material. Why would they use coal fly ash again? Because it gives one, plausible deniability. They can just simply blame all this contamination on coal-fired power plants, which are bad, no question. But the amount of particulate matter in the atmosphere far exceeds anything that would be mathematically emitted from these plants. It has to be coming from another source, and that source is climate engineering. So it gives them plausible deniability, and the elements are conducive to other forms of geoengineering like ocean iron fertilization. So why would the U.S. be importing this toxic contamination from other countries? We have to ask ourselves, don't we? So we can blame it on China, perhaps. We can blame all the pollution, all the atmospheric particulate fallout on some other source, scapegoating, as I mentioned earlier in the show. In this report, with the headline coal ash, why would we be importing it? Shipping containers full of coal ash from China, Poland, and India have come to the U.S. through the Port of Virginia and other ports. As foreign companies find a market for the same industrial waste that American utilities are struggling to dispose of. So we have millions of tons of this sitting around on order rates that Travis Blankenship, former government affairs manager for the Virginia League of Conservative Voters. Why in the world would we be importing it from other states and countries? Because that chemical signature, if some of this is mixed in, can give some sort of plausible deniability for the true source of this contamination being sprayed in the skies all over the world as a base material. Again, there's probably many processing additives going into this material as it's been utilized and dispersed in our skies. So ask yourself, why would our government be importing toxic coal ash from other countries? Finally, I want to consider, is it too late to save Earth?
Alright, I did a video earlier where I had scraping the evaporated snow residue out of a plastic bucket. I've been collecting snow all winter long, let it evaporate. So I took a plastic scraper, I was scraping it out, and I found a bunch of webs, what have you, in it, stringy stuff like hair, what have you. And then I noticed suddenly that while it was hanging off my plastic spatula, that it was touching the sides of the buckets all the way around. David Kramer brought it to my attention that it was kinetic energy, and that's what was drawing it in. We were just talking a few minutes ago on Facebook Messenger, and he suggested me put a magnet next to it as we were talking. So I did, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to shake this thing around. I'm going to tilt it this way. What you can see here, it's on the magnet right back there. And there's metal in this. It's a neodymium magnet. So it's a really strong magnet. But as you can see, it is moving this around. It's actually even holding it up there. So there you have it. It's metal in our snow. I dealt with nothing but plastic, so there was nothing to contaminate this with some kind of metal. This is only half of my sample. The other half I somewhere else right now, but more of it sticks here. Oops. So that stays up there. Hey guys, I want to talk a little bit about this picture. I know you all have seen this